Do we find out the source of Zeus's and the gods' powers? Let's find out. Welcome back. This is Sean's Take on Things. I am your host, Sean Redmond. Today, my take is on Kaos, Episode 6. This is your spoiler alert. Also, this is the part where I say that I can use clips from the show as is allowed under the copyright laws of 1976 fair use provision. Let's get into it. So we're coming down to it. It's really, this show is picking up steam and rolling towards the end. We open at the cave where we see Dionysus on the receiving end of a punch from the widow, the guy that went back to save his kid because Dionysus asked how Orpheus was doing. Whoops, little faux pas. But they see that Orpheus has in fact crossed the river Styx. So he's on his way. We see Riddy having nightmares. And it's, every bad thing that we know that has ever happened to her. The dead bodies in the nothing, the removal of Nax's soul, her mother getting her tongue cut out, herself defying the gods. All of these things are in her nightmare. When she tells Kaos this, Kaos tells her that he couldn't sleep, and that he had defied the gods. And according to his mother, defied the gods by changing. And that's when we get Kaos's backstory of being born a female and then transitioning to becoming a male. But when you're from the Amazon warrior tribe, that's not okay. So Kaos had to leave the tribe to go to Crete to transition and could never go home. Their best friend was killed for returning home male. And we believe so far that Kaos's mother actually turned him into the Fates or the Furies. We do see that Kaos's mother did love them and understood who they were and what was happening and said, you have to go so you won't be killed. And it is Mom that tells Kaos that Kaos is the female version of the name. The male version of the name is Kaos. So Mom did help, or was at least trying to help as much as she could. So after Riddy and Kaos talk about their nightmares and things, they compare their prophecies and realize that they actually share the exact same prophecy. So Riddy believes that their prophecies have something to do with the nothing, where they saw all of the bodies. So Riddy already is putting together that there is no renewal and that the gods are lying. And that when you go through the frame, you end up where they just saw everybody. We cut to Prometheus, and Prometheus simply says, bingo. Riddy thinks that they should go back into the nothing to see what they can do. And Kaos believes they should go to the river Lathe to try and stop people from going through the frame. So Hades and Persephone travel to Olympus to sit with Zeus and Hera and Poseidon. And Hera makes an offhanded comment about Persephone always wearing black. It's in character, but come on. Hades tells Zeus of the trouble that could tear Hades, the underworld, Earth, and Olympus apart, and that the frame has to be reset. There's too many souls going through it. It's causing trouble. They have to reset the frame and set a baseline for how many humans can go through it and start over. Zeus says no. Zeus refuses. Hades starts to sweat, and so Zeus says, why don't you go for a swim? Hades hates swimming. Persephone knows this and begins to protest, but everybody knows who Zeus is and what's what. And so Hades strips down and gets in the pool, even though he hates it. Hades continues to try and convince Zeus that there's trouble and they have to address it, and that if Zeus won't, he will. And Zeus then believes that Hades is trying to take his place. At which point, and the show did this pretty well, Zeus strikes Hades, who is an immortal god, with lightning. That's Zeus's thing. And we've seen several statues of Zeus around this series holding the lightning bolt aloft, right? So it is still his thing, even in this show. So he strikes Hades with the lightning. Hades is immortal, so he survives. Afterwards, Zeus leaves, and Persephone does tell Hera, which is a very brave thing to do. Persephone tells Hera that she's going to find a way to kill Zeus. When Hera has a moment when they're away from everybody else, she does tell Zeus that she thinks Hades is right, and that Zeus is beginning to act exactly like Zeus's father. Zeus summons Prometheus again and begins telling him his new plan. He has a new plan. The humans aren't actually the problem. He has to destroy the Fates. Because if he destroys the Fates, then no one will have a prophecy anymore, and the problem is resolved. The other thing he needs to have happen is he needs to have existing prophecy defied. So, to not be first, he wants Minos to kill his firstborn, Glaucus, who's now the Minotaur. And he sends Poseidon to tell him that he has to do it. And Hera goes with Poseidon. And of course, he is very reluctant. He can't kill his son. Hera assures him that if he does not, that she, Hera, will torture his daughter Ari for quite some time and kill her. And so Hera presents Minos' knife, kill the Minotaur. And in a voiceover, Prometheus tells us how the gods were created. And as it turns out, Kronos, who is their father, was vicious and mean. And one day Zeus had enough. And Zeus killed Kronos with such passion that Kronos' soul was absorbed by Zeus. And in absorbing Kronos' soul, Zeus got immense power. So he started killing and absorbing souls. And that's when the frame was created to harvest the souls, because Zeus got tired of all the killing. They would harvest the souls through the frame, make them liquid, so the family could consume them and remain immortal. So there we have it. That's the meander water. That's why it's so important to Zeus. That's why Prometheus won't drink it. If you're being tortured forever, you don't want anything that's going to prolong forever. So Charon escorts or leads Orpheus to the middle of the wilderness and says he has to leave him. And Orpheus says, "What do I do?" Charon says, "I don't know. Nobody's ever made it this far. Just keep going. See what happens. There'll be another test along." So Orpheus, who is parched, dehydrated, continues walking and walking and walking. And he comes across a stranger with water. And the stranger offers him the water. But if Orpheus drinks the water, he'll never see Riddy again. And Orpheus says, "I would rather die," refuses the water, and continues. So he passes the test. When Orpheus refuses and says he would rather die of dehydration, he passes the test, and a door appears. And when he walks through the door, he is taken right to that complex in the underworld where Riddy lives. Orpheus is taken to Eurydice. And when the door is opened, she looks in shock and he looks overjoyed, right? We cut to the cave where everybody's watching Orpheus's progress and sees that he got to Riddy. And everybody cheers except Dionysus, who cuts out to go tell Poseidon that he actually made it to Riddy. When he gets to Poseidon's boat, he finds him having sex with Hera. So now Dionysus knows they're having an affair. Prue runs to tell Medusa that Orpheus is there, that there's a live person in the underworld. Medusa calls Charon to say Orpheus is there. There's a live person in the underworld. Charon says he already knows. And Prometheus was telling the truth. And Medusa responds, "It's happening. Someone's finally going back." And even though he's still hanging from the side of the rock, we see Prometheus who can't help but smile. And that's the end of episode 6. I thought there would be more of Orpheus's struggle to get to the underworld, but hey, this is episode 6 of 8. Yeah, we got to get going. So now we know for sure that the meander water is in fact the liquefied souls of everybody that Zeus was cramming through the frame. There is no renewal. The gods are full of shit. So we have Eurydice and Kaos on task. They have to stop the frame. Dionysus now knows that there's an affair going on between Poseidon and Hera. So this is going to spiral very quickly. What do you think? Are you enjoying this show? I like this show. I think it has earned a season 2, if they so wish. I don't know how expensive this show is to make. The cast is pretty good, so they're probably not cheap. So what do you tell me what you're thinking of this show. What's Riddy going to say to Orpheus now that Orpheus has found her? Let's find out. That's it for this week. This episode. I appreciate you being here. I really do. Hit that thumbs up if you would be so kind. If you've made it here this long in this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit the thumbs up to just let me know. And let me know in the comments that you watched the whole thing. Because the way YouTube works is interacting with the thumbs up, subscribing, and leaving comments is all interaction with these videos. And so they push it further based on if you watch this and like it and comment, YouTube will then push it out to people that watch things similar to what you watch. And then my channel can grow. And I would appreciate that. I really would. But thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.